Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and today we're going to be taking a look at the PC Specialist Vanquish Arc MIDI system. Now this is a Haswell based rig. In fact, I will read you the spec list out right now. It's got Intel 4670K overclocked to 4.2 GHz. We've got 16GB of Kingston HyperX Beast at 2400 MHz. Asus Maximus 6 Hero, 120GB Kingston HyperX 3K SSD, 1TB 6 gigabits a second hard drive for your storage. And then with the graphics, and this is why we've covered it, you can either select a GTX 770 or a 290 graphics card. If you click down in the bottom left hand corner of the screen, you'll be able to go to the full review of all the graphs, because in this system we've obviously covered the 770 and the 290, and it's not on our bench rig, it's on a PC Specialist system, so it's also going to be quite good for you to see it in a more kind of mainstream and accessible type of bench rig. Then we've got a Corsair H100i, Corsair TX650M modular power supply. It's all housed in the Fractal Arc MIDI R2. And then it does come with Windows 8.1 64-bit and a 3-year warranty. I have to admit though that I'm not a humongous fan of Windows 8.1, so the first thing I did was put it back to Windows 7 for my benching. Because I've got an image for that and stuff. But anyway, so we did that anyway. But the price comes in at 1,199 quid, so 1,200 quid basically. Now I know that's not a budget system, but it's also not a stupidly expensive system, and we think this is a pretty well balanced rig, which is one of the reasons why we agreed to do it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay out of shot for most of this, but we got the system here, but you do get a PC Specialist welcome pack. You just spin the camera around, you get a PC Specialist welcome pack, and I just want to show you this bit quickly. This is when we show you the rest of the rig, this is the extra hard drive cage from the front of the case. It's been removed, but they do send it to you. And then in your welcome pack, you get all your cables that they've not used, from the power supply and to plug it in. Then you get all the stuff from the motherboard box, all your manuals, everything. So anything that you would have got in the boxes from the hardware boxes, you get sent in this. And you can see here, look, it should have a barcode on it, but it says Review PC. But anyway, so the rig itself, Arc MIDI, nice, I'm not going to say small form factor, but it's not as massive as some mid towers can be. One of the nice things about it, I think, is it's quite a clean case. You've got a massive mesh section at the top. If you've not seen the full Arc MIDI review, and I'll just spin it over to show you. We've got a nice mesh section at the top. Goes right front to back, and while I've got it leant over like this, it does also come with a fan controller. And when they've built this, it has been built up with the fans to use this as well. So the two front fans and the rear fan are wired into this, so you can change that manually. And then the H100i has been set up with Link, so you can change the H100i stuff. So it's all real simple. Power button at the top, front panel audio, they have connected those up as well, and then the two USB 3s. Now, when we come round to the back, it's all very muchly, all the type of stuff that you would expect. Now I've already got the screws off. I don't know why I took the screws off the back and then not off the front. But anyway, so we're going to remove the back panel, just take that off quickly. And the reason why I'm taking the back panel off is so that we can have a properly good look around the back of the case. Now I'm going to zoom you in a little bit when I can find the button. Right, so we're going to have a look around the back of the case. Now, when it gets to cable management, and you can see the rear fan coming up and around here, coming into the fan controller. When it comes to cable management, this is really what you want to take a real good look at, because this is what the system builders should be doing, and that's making your rig look tidy. To the point, I would say that system builders should be, for those of you out there that don't like cable management, haven't got the time to build, haven't got the experience, stuff like that, a system builder should build you a system that you're happy with, or would be happy to live with. And this, for me, is pretty damn tidy. We can see that they've spent a lot of time putting the 24 pin all up and hidden. we've got a SATA cable up here. Now you may wonder why you've got a SATA cable up here, but it has got an optical drive in the front for those noobs of you out there that still think that they're necessary. So the SATA cable has come up to be plugged into the optical drive in the front. But they've done a real good job of putting it up with the 24 pin and keeping it all nice and tidy. Got the PCI Express cables here, and then all the front panel stuff. This cable here that's coming around the outside, they've gone around the outside because that's for the USB 3 internal header. As you can see down here, we've got the hard drives, but what they have done, if I unplug this 3K SSD, they have left a gap between the hard drives. So you've got the mechanical hard drive at the bottom, and then there's the solid state drive right at the top, but they've left you a SATA connection if you want to use that middle hard drive slot. Now that may not sound like a big deal, but the fact that they've actually wired it so that you can use that slot and it's still tidy does get a bit of a thumbs up, because it means that they're thinking about what happens if they want to add another solid state drive, what happens if they need another mechanical drive. If you don't, you're never going to know it's there. If you do need it, you'll be glad that it is there. So it's a really nice, you know, it's really nice that they've, you know, thought about it really. The rest of things round the back, there are some spare Molex connections down in this bottom left hand corner. Again, it's all kind of hidden out the way. If you don't need them, they can stay there. If you do need them, ta-da, they're there. And it's nice that they're here as well, because then if you end up putting an LED or something, LED strip, or you know, the LED braided things all the way around, you've got power available down here. And yeah, everything else is all nice and hidden and tidy and out the way. And by the way, I said earlier on that there was 2 front fans and there's only 1. It was my mistake. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're just going to spin the case around, and what I will do is I will give you a quick look, but then I will bring you in for a much closer look of the system as well. So that's your kind of first impressions. Put the camera up a bit, Thomas. That's your first impressions of the system. What, like I said, I'm going to do now, I'm going to put the back panel back on just so that this kind of, the blue wall is hidden, and I will bring you in and get the lights all set up so that we can have a properly nice, good look on the inside. Okay then peeps, so I've got the rig on a bit of an angle, as I will show you, but that's really just so that I could give you a good look up in the roof to have a look at the H100. The fan configuration is as simple in the front, out the back, but that just means that they've not changed the back fan round. If I was going to have this at home, I probably would unscrew it and then slide the fan back in so it was sucking in the back, but you probably want to get a dust filter for that if you did. And that will just be, you want a positive air pressure in the case. That's not really a criticism of the build. That's more a kind of observation on what I would do if I kept it. Most people won't even think about flipping that round, but it can help keep, not necessarily temperatures down, but the, like I said, the positive airflow in the case up. They've removed this section of the, as you can see, they've removed the hard drive cage because you don't need it, and it helps blow straight across. Now, as I've said, you can have this with a GTX 770, which is this one, which is fitted, and this one's a pallet one. Or you can select it to come with the AMD R9 290, not the X290, and both prices will be the same because they're very, very similar price graphics cards and actually perform pretty similarly too. But in this section, we just want to be looking at the build quality, cable management, which, to be fair, as you can see, the only messy cable really is this one, which is the PCI USB 3 from the front panel, but they've done it the tidiest way that they could. I don't like the SATA cable up the top and the SATA going up into the optical drive, but that's just because I don't use them. We've obviously got the H100 in there, which helps keep this all open and nice and tidy. It also allows them to be able to use the taller HyperX Beast. That's 2400 megahertz there. If we slide the camera down a bit, we can see the modular power supply in the bottom, which they've got pulling in air from the bottom. There is a dust filter there, and that is the kind of more mainstream way. That's the way people, not massive enthusiasts, will expect the power supply to be round that way. Obviously, I would have it round the other way, but having it round that way does mean the cables are slightly tidier, and they have done a good job down here of keeping the cables quite tidy. The only messy cable in the rig really is the front panel audio at the front here, because obviously you've got to pull it in and go right the way to the front. And that's one of the reasons why really I'm not a fan of them. If you connect your 3.5mm jacks to the front, then, you know, fine. But if you've got a USB or you don't mind using the connectors around the back, then it does seem to make a lot of sense. I suppose it really does depend whether you've got your main speakers and you've got headphones that are 3.5mm as well. But if I was going to be using this rig, for me personally, don't forget this is just a real subjective thing for me. If I was going to be using this for me personally, then I would probably remove this and either hide it round the back or even disconnect it from the front altogether. But like I said, that's a very, very personal thing. One thing I will say is the Hero does look really nice in there. There's not too much red in this rig. It's quite a kind of a dark kind of looking rig. When the H100 is turned on, it is set up to be white, but obviously you can go into the Corsair Link software and you can use whatever colour that you want. You can obviously change that yourself, set the fan profiles up and everything. But that really is all we need to look at as far as aesthetics is concerned. It's very well built. The cable management is good. It's up there with the best of any of the systems I've ever been sent. Even tiny little details, like they've removed the they've removed the hard drive cage from here, but they've actually screwed the screws back in. So rather than leaving them loose in the box or something, they've screwed them back in. So if you want to fit it again, they're there. It also does hide up the brass thread, which is on the other side. And it just goes to show that they have, you know, thought about making this as tidy and as neat as possible. But they've obviously also, they've thought about making it as tidy and as neat as possible, but they've still fitted everything. And you'd be amazed how many system build companies don't. So hardware is good, it's been built well. It's really time for us now to see how this performs. Now we could run loads of benchmarks and stuff, but what you can do if you want to see benchmarks, as in synthetic benchmarks, click the link in the bottom left hand corner. What we're going to do now is we're going to move on to some simulated gameplay which we've recorded. We've got some we've got results for both the GTX 770 and the 290, so we're going to show you some gameplay now, and then what we will do is we will move on to a conclusion to talk about everything that we've seen today and our thoughts on the rig.
Snow. This isn't normal. Damn! How many are there?
See anyone? I think they're after Wu! crazy fuck! Oh shit! Run! Stay with me! Are you crazy? Keep moving! Oh God! Shoot them! You shoot! I'll take the ladders! Come on! Wake up! We're all dead! Help! It's gonna get me! Artyom, take my shotgun! Here! Conserve the ammo, Artyom! Conserve the ammo! Help! We're almost at the roadblock! Come on!
What the hell just
The
happened
roadblock!
here?
But the roadblock! Come on! Artyom!
Right then, we've moved on to the conclusion. I've actually got the rig still by the side of me here, but I've put the side on. So we need to do a conclusion for the whole system, as well as the performance and the build quality and all that kind of stuff. So I'll do as I always do, and I will say the award, and then I will talk about why. So right from the very beginning, we are going to give it the OC3D Gold Award. And that is pretty much because the parts that have been chosen are really well selected. You've not got anything massively out of place there. You've got some good mid-range or mid to high end graphics card options with the GTX 770 and the 290. Some people may say the cooling is slightly overkill where it's a H100i. One thing I will say with the H100i is it does give you the ability to run it really quiet. So if you have an overkill cooler, as some of you may be saying, it does mean that you can turn the fans down so that you can't hear them and still have good temperatures. Haswell is renowned for being a hot little cookie, and this does cope with it very well, keeping everything below 80 degrees, even in silent mode, and with us running OCCT in with AVX compatible enabled as well. So just saying those two things from my point of view does show why the H100 was a good choice, because even though it's a 4670K, they can get really hot. The 4.2 gigahertz overclock, that's also a nice stopping point. Some of the retail samples that I've seen kind of kicking about, it struggled to do 4.4. So going 4.2 from a business point of view means they can pretty much guarantee it. All of them are going to do it. This has done it with decent volts as well, kept the temperatures nice and low. It's 100% stable, and if you're having, building, or got want a gaming machine with an overclock, once you do get to a point where the increase in the overclock does become pointless because of the extra heat that it entails. So they've actually done, they've chosen pretty well with this. 4.2, 4.4 is pretty much perfect. You don't even need an overclock on a Haswell to not bottleneck, as a lot of people will be saying. these graphics cards, so you've not got anything to worry about, but it does obviously help keep things nice and nippy. The 2400 megahertz memory as well for a gaming machine, you know, that's pretty damn epic, you know, with the bandwidth ability there. But one of the things I will say, because people are going to be out there screaming at the thing, why have you got 2400 megahertz memory in a gaming machine? Well, it has been proven that Battlefield 4 does like quicker memory. So we can say that, you know, this is going to obviously cope with Battlefield 4 pretty well. We've obviously got the ability of having the mantle side of things with the R9. But if you want to stick with an NVIDIA, then you've got it on this. And one thing I will say between the two graphics cards is the AMD did pull in front on a few of the benchmarks that we did. But consistently throughout the rest of them, it was also noisier. Whereas the NVIDIA, like, it may have been slightly more behind, but it was much, much quieter out the box as well. One thing I will also say is if you are looking at this rig as, you know, maybe to have a bit of a play with it, maybe to overclock your graphics card and stuff, the NVIDIA option will be more rewarding for you as an overclocking system than the AMD will, unless you've got ear defenders. But that's just a, you know, a run-of-the-mill AMD kind of NVIDIA kind of argument at the minute. Build quality was awesome. Everything was really nice and tidy where you'd want it to have been. Even, like I said, they left that extra SATA power in between the two hard drive cages. Little things like that I kind of do tend to pick up on, and I did quite like that. Everything was clicked up in the right places, and there was no real places that I was looking at stuff that I would have done anything differently if I was building a rig as they were for the mass market, like with the front panel audio connector. The only reason why I take that is a personal choice, and that, you know, if you're going to build a system, buy a system like this, if you then don't want it, you can obviously make changes. But this is the type of system I think even an enthusiast that builds their own rig would have been happy to look at, and the build quality and the cables wise, and say they'd done it themselves. There was definitely nothing I would have done massively differently. So essentially, the benchmarks are good. The temperatures were great because of the H100. All the hardware picked was great as well. You've obviously got the Hero. You've got the Supreme FX audio on the Hero, but the Hero's quite well priced. You've got 4670K. It's a gaming rig at the end of the day, and we have already said if you're just going to buy a gaming rig, the 4670K is all you're going to need, because there's very few games out there that will look like they put, you know, you'll get frames per second out of by having a better CPU. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of people out there going, well, you're not going to get better FPS with a better CPU. Actually, some games you do. It's not all down to the graphics card, boys and girls. But with a 4670K, you throughout the most of the games, you'll have all the CPU power that you're going to need. So then you concentrate on the graphics a little bit more, and you've obviously got two really good options there. You've obviously got the fan controller on the front built into the case, which is another reason why I like this case. Nice smoked window as well. As it is out the box, all you're really going to be seeing is the few motherboard lights that you get, and then the H100 light, which you can obviously change, and then everything else is kind of stealthed in behind it. But if you do want to play around with your rig and add to it, if you were to stick some LEDs down the bottom of this, it would then light the hardware up that little bit more. I was saying about the fan controller, that's obviously wired into the fan, so you've got a really easy way to make it absolutely perfectly silent if you're watching a film, or if you're playing your games and you're really, it's a warm day, or you've got the heating cranked up at home because it's winter now. You can change the fan speed if you want a little bit more airflow in your case. I have to say though that when I was testing this, I did a worst case scenario with it, and I just left the fans on low all the time, and I also had the H100 on tested on low as well. But I did test it with it on balanced, but like I said, it was slightly cooler, but the rig is capable of coping with that overclock with the H100i on silent mode or quiet, and then the fans turned right down as well, because like I said, I went with the worst case scenario rather than having it mega loud. So yeah, it's a great little well-built system, and I think 1,200 quid for something of this spec. Obviously you've got the mechanical hard drive in there, which I might add is the noisiest thing in the entire system. I think the reason why I tune into it though is because Orca is just solid state drives. My main server, although there's a lot of mechanicals in there, they're silent drives, and you just can't hear that rig for toffee. I don't generally have mechanical hard drives in use around the office at all anymore. So when something like this does turn up, which has them, and you can hear it in there, I tuned into it. But the point I'm trying to make is the rest of the system is so quiet that I actually managed to tune in with my ears, and they are, you know, big radar bastards at the end of the day. I did manage to tune in on the fact that I could hear that over everything else. So it just goes to show you how quiet it is. And it's not because the hard drive's noisy at all. It's just a normal 1 terabyte, 6 gigabits a second hard drive in there. But it's just they've done such a good job on getting everything else made real quiet. So that's it, boys and girls, and that's why we gave it the Gold Award. There's nothing else we could really give it. We thought it would have been a bit marking it down, for want of a better term, to have given it the Gamer's Choice, although it would be an epic Gamer's Choice case, because it will be a gamer that's got a little bit more money to spend maybe than what we would normally give a Gamer's Choice for. But maybe we should give it Golden Gamer's Choice, I don't know, but it's thoroughly deserving of that Gold Award. But anyway, for now, I need to get my remote. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the gameplay side of things. I will be back with another system review shortly. But for now, at least, this is Tiny Tom Logan with the PC Specialist. And I'm getting right to the end, and I've realised I can't remember what the bloody... Here we go. Professional at its best. It is Vanquish. I knew it was bloody Vanquish. Anyway, it's Tiny Tom Logan with the Gold Award winning PC Specialist Vanquish. Full system, full gaming system. Out.